The rain hadn't stopped for hours. It streaked the tall glass windows of the corner office, blurring the city lights into an indistinct haze, much like the thoughts flooding Adrian Cole's mind. 6 months had passed since the divorce, yet the silence in his penthouse still pressed on his chest like a weight he couldn't shake. He had lost her. Not just the woman he once loved, but the life they had built. The laughter, the morning coffee rituals, the quiet comfort of knowing someone was there when the night felt too long. But nothing could have prepared him for what he saw that afternoon, standing across the street, his ex-wife, Emma, cradling a baby in her arms. A baby that couldn't be more than a few months old. His breath caught. His pulse raced. The questions clawed at his chest. I want every detail about this child, he told himself. Because something deep inside whispered, this changes everything. Adrian Cole was not a man used to uncertainty. As the CEO of one of the largest real estate firms in the city, he thrived on control, on knowing the market before it moved, on predicting people before they acted. But Emma had been the one person he couldn't predict. She had left without a public fight, without demanding half of everything. Just a quiet statement over dinner. Adrian, I can't do this anymore. He had told himself she was making a mistake, that she'd come back once she realized life without him would be harder. But she hadn't. Now, staring at her from the tinted glass of his black SUV, holding a baby against her chest, he felt the familiar sting of betrayal claw at him again. Was this child the reason she left? Had she moved on so quickly? That night, he found himself pacing his empty apartment. The clock ticked past midnight. His mind was a storm of memories. Emma's laughter, the way she'd touch his arm when she wanted him to stop working, the tears in her eyes when she'd whispered, I just want you to be here with me, Adrian. He had always thought her words were an overreaction. Work was who he was. Providing for her was his way of loving her. But seeing her now, with a child, made him realize she had wanted something more. Something he hadn't given. And for the first time, he wondered if maybe the problem had been him all along. The next week, fate, or maybe something bigger, put them face to face. Adrian had just stepped out of a cafe when he saw her again. This time, she noticed him. Her eyes widened, but she didn't turn away. Adrian, she said softly, her voice carrying a mix of caution and familiarity. He looked down at the baby in her arms, a little girl with big hazel eyes and a tiny tuft of chestnut hair. She's beautiful, he murmured, his voice unexpectedly gentle. What's her name? Lila, Emma replied, adjusting the baby's blanket. The silence between them was heavy, but different this time. Not filled with anger, but with something unspoken. She's not mine, Emma finally said, as if reading the storm in his mind. She's my niece. My sister passed away 3 months ago. I'm raising her now. The air left his lungs in a rush. Shame hit him like a tidal wave. Shame for his assumptions, for the bitterness he had carried, for the way he had painted her in his mind. They sat on a nearby bench. She spoke about her sister, about sleepless nights and learning to feed a baby who cried until dawn. He listened, really listened, for the first time in years. When Lila's tiny hand gripped his finger, something inside Adrian shifted. The walls he had built for years, the ones that had kept out pain but also love, began to crack. Before they parted, Emma looked at him with a softness he hadn't seen in years. You don't always have to be strong, Adrian. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is let people in. That night, he didn't go back to his penthouse to drown in silence. He went to a toy store and bought a small stuffed bear for Lila. For the first time in months, his chest felt lighter. Ending message. Adrian didn't get Emma back. That wasn't the point. He learned that healing wasn't about undoing the past. It was about opening your heart again, even if it still carried scars. And sometimes, the people who teach you the most about love aren't the ones you marry, but the ones who show up when your soul is ready to heal. Glowing star moral of the story. Healing begins the moment we choose to let go of bitterness and open ourselves to connection again. The heart may never be the same after loss, but it can still grow in beautiful, unexpected ways.